what's the average return number? It's about 13%. So in decimals, that's 0.14, right? What's the average risk number? That's about 5. So let's say that's 4.2. 4.2 is 30 times higher than 0.14, which means those two series are of different scales. When you put more than one series into a chart and their scales are naturally different, that chart may or may not be informative, or it may not be visible. If I was comparing size versus return of two different strategies, that would have been a proper thing to do, because in both cases I'm looking at rewards. So unless there is a built-in difference between the rewards of one strategy over the other, I should see similar numbers. But here the scales are different. It's as if I'm having gallons as units on one of them and liters on the other. 1 gallon is about 3.8 liters. So when more than one series is charted on a graph, the series that has the lower scale tends to mask the patterns. The series with the higher scale is more like zoomed in. We have a way of taking care of that. So, do you guys know how to do that? Okay. If you have more than one series, click on one of the series, it doesn't matter which one. Right click and hit Format Data Series. And right here, there's, this is formatting, this is called Series Options. You can have two scales on a graph. So I'm going to put this one on secondary axis. And scales of these are different. The risk is on the left-hand side. In fact, and so it goes anywhere from 0 to about 7. The return is on the right-hand side. It goes anywhere from 0 to about 18. But, it's shifted to scales. Basically, this means 10% is roughly equal to 4 in risk measure. They're not making any equality between them, but in terms of relative scales. Now we have a clearer chart. Okay? And if that's not necessarily obvious which one is risk versus reward, you can make add chart element, axis titles, primary vertical. I'm going to call this risk. And I'm going to add another chart element, axis titles, secondary vertical. Now I have an informative chart. You may think, what does this have to do with finance? Well, you're going to make a lot of presentations in your corporate lives. Some of them will involve stuff like that or something else. Anytime you need to show patterns relating to two different series that has different scales, either you're going to do the scale adjustment ahead of time, or you let Excel pretty much automatically return it. Now, just visually, it's a lot easier to see. We also have a similar pattern with respect to reward versus size. The higher is reward, the lower is the size of the firms on their portfolio. Okay. So this means, at least historically speaking, if you want higher returns, you gotta be in stocks that are of smaller in nature, right? Of course, this is anywhere from, not anywhere, starting July 1927 to August of 2000. Why is that 2024? Oh, it should be 26 here. That's my mistake. Okay. All right. So this is the last roughly 97 years. But you may have good reason to think what the market was 100 years ago and what the market is right now are different. So if you want to make a comparison based on the last 100 years, then, the periods in 1920s may not be that easily comparable. Among other things, in 1920s, 30s, 40s, shorting stocks were not that easy. And I'll kind of do something at the end, but now it's pretty much easy. I have some smaller stocks in my retirement portion of Robinhood portfolio. They give you 3% match if you put something on your IRA. I did a Roth IRA. Right now I put only $200 plus, but I have till April to increase it to $7,500. And I put in very small stocks. Okay. And every once in a while I get an email from Robinhood that says, oh, by the way, we loaned out your stocks and you got this much money for your trouble. Loaning out means somebody borrowed my stocks. Obviously, they're not borrowing my stocks to make pickles out of them for winter. They actually sell it in the market. They think it's going to go down in value. If and when it goes down in value, they're going to buy it back and give me back my stocks. That's called shorting. That wasn't that easy to do in early part of the century. The only way you could do it, pretty much if you were really well connected with the brokers, but average Joe or Jane or Jennifer, pick your name, could not do it that easily. I mean, I can't do it on Robinhood, but if I was a Charles Schwab customer, I could have done it. Also, I have other ways of shorting stocks. Robinhood, I could buy a put option. There were no options trading on stocks before 1975. Right? There was some, but it wasn't that liquid. Before 1973, we didn't even have an official formula to approximate the values of options, which is something you guys are going to see in the derivatives class. We may also touch at the end of the semester if you have time left, the so-called famous Black-Scholes formula. Okay. That paper came out in 1973. It kind of changed the nature of the stock market. So let's look at these numbers based on, let's do a date filter. After, I'm going to look at after 1975. I may not go that easily. Actually, let me put this number, then I'll just edit it. So I'm going to do after 12/31/1975. Okay. Did these things change? They should have. Oh, when you do average and stuff, they do, but all I have to do is kind of redo these. Anywhere I see 11.75, I'm gonna make it 5.99.